Okay guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to just animate our profile picture. So there's a few things you can do, and I get inspiration. I go on sites like Motion Array and Envato, and I just have a look at the Instagram stories and how they animate them, and I've picked up a few cool tricks just from watching and trying it out myself. So I just want to show you some different things you can do. So the first one for a circle, really easy. Let's just go, for instance, I'm just going a couple of frames in, just over 1 second I usually find is good. And I'm going to keyframe 1 second, 12 frames. You can do however many you like. I'm not even sure what this composition is set at. I don't know if that's bad. 24 frames a second. Right, so actually I'll just go to like 28 frames here. So I've got 2 keyframes. So here's the thing, when we start animating now, should have said this, we're going to animate everything from the start. We're not going to move anything in time. Everything is just going to animate at the same time. And then later on, we'll offset them, and that is how you really you animate methodically, and then you can really start adjusting by just moving layers up and down, tweaking things like that. But right now, we're just going to look at animating the profile picture. Right, so because it's in a composition, there's a few cool things we can do. So I could press F9 and to get my easy ease and just drag it back, and I kind of like this animation for the picture. Just to show you some different things you can do here, what we could do is duplicate and just offset the top one a little bit. And now if you put a tint on the bottom one, if we go to tint, or you make any changes to the bottom one, you can see that the gray comes first. And this can be used for squares or however you want to do it. Any sort of shape, you can get that. See what I mean? So it gives it quite a cool, quite a cool effect. Now another thing you could do is you could press S on the last keyframe and scale this one just a bit bigger than the picture, so you actually get a border. And then finally what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could just add fill to this, and it's just a really easy way of getting a border around your picture and getting this effect, which I think looks pretty cool. So there's just a few things straight off the bat that you can do with your composition. I'm just thinking whether I can think of any more. I'm not 100% on what I'm going to go with, and I don't think I want to sit here and just guess while you're here. I've got to work out what's best. So here's another cool thing as well. If you had any sort of matte layers, so suppose we had a rectangle like this, we could draw a rectangle, just make it white, scroll down, stroke down, sorry. And then you could make this composition, you could build a sort of shape layer here, however you like. And then see, this is the shape layer, we could call this matte. And then just make sure you've got this toggle open, and you can make the alpha matte be of the shape, and then you can just animate the shapes in. So obviously it looks a bit weird like that, but what you could do is if you go to the shapes here and you go to rectangle and then transform rectangle, you can play around with the positions. If you want them to slice through, you could animate that as well, so they get up here. And then let's just go to the start, go to 1 second in, animate the rectangle in here. And then you could do that for each rectangle, and that's how you can get some really kind of crazy looking effects. But that was just to show you. I'm not going to just sit here and mumble. I just wanted to give you some ideas. So the first thing, if you want to stick to a scale like that, that's cool. If you want, duplicate it, offset it, tint the bottom one, or add a fill color, make the bottom one a little bit bigger. That's going to give you like a border. You can make it white. You could color drop it, make it pink. You could make it blue. You can make it whatever color you want. I actually think that looks pretty cool. So then all I need to do is scale this down a little bit. If I want a thinner border, and I actually quite like that. So that is the profile picture. So in this one, go and play around with the profile picture, play around with matte layers, so you could reveal it however you want. You could have things flying in. You could duplicate this again and offset this again. Let's go below. I always do this. Drag it on way too much. Let's make this scale a bit smaller. And you could fill this. And then you could add like a blue. Whoops. Try and get the purple. There we go. You can do whatever you like, but to make life easier, sometimes you've already got the scale property, so you can just do it however you like. I'm just ruining everything now. So there we go. I think I'm going to settle with that. I think that looks pretty nice, and I'll see you in the next video where we will start animating the text. Okay, so I've made some graphic design changes to the text because I felt like it wasn't really sticking out too much, because the white was sort of getting lost on the shoulder. It was a bit messy going over the pink. So all I've done is I've created 3 shape layers using the methods in the viral style text. If you haven't already done that project or that course, I've anchor pointed to the left on these 2. I didn't do it on that one. And then just got the scale, dragged it up, duplicated, and made shapes below each one. So I've got animated, social media, post project here, and I've got the 3 shape layers down. So there's a few ways we could do this text. So the first way is we could do like the reveal, where we so let's go to like 1 second, go to shape layer here. So we could do the way that we showed before, where this scales up. But I don't think I want to do it like that because we've already done that. So let me show you a few different ways we can animate this text. There's actually a couple of things I need to cover here. So if we go to animated first, let's just focus on this one bit of text. So I'm going to show you principles, and you can do them however you like. So when we drop down the animator, here's the key thing: we don't animate the position of this text. Just get out of the habit of doing that straight away. Because what happens is, if we animate the position, let's say we put the position here, go back and just animate it. Let's animate it up. So if we go like this, yeah, and then later on we're like, oh, we just want it to move over. You're making another keyframe. So it would, say you want to drag it over a bit, or you've moved the text, it's going to start doing all this sort of junk. So let's not animate the text layer, because look, I can even change this text layer, text later, but it doesn't change this because this isn't the actual text. So I'll change it back to animated just for reference. But when we drop this down, let's drop down this menu, go to animate and position, and let's go to 1 second forward and hit our position keyframe. And then when we come back to the start, we can move the position or the range selector. There's a few different things we can do, but for now let's just show you how to. If we drag this down, you can see it's moving like this, but then if we move the text, it still animates up and down, right? So that is why we animate with the animator. So just again, the whole principle here is what we're going to be doing is we're going to go to 1 second and we're going to animate our one piece of text, and everything will be animated from the start. When we start going out here and trying to make everything get in time, it's a lot harder than when you get it all working together at the start and then offsetting it. Again, golden advice. I've taken loads of courses. I've spent hundreds if not thousands of dollars on courses, and they never just tell you this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ease these keyframes with F9, and I kind of like this effect when I drag the handle to the left. So see that? It starts off quick and it slows down and eases in. Now what we could also do is we could go to range selector. No, sorry. We could go to animate, and we can animate something else. We could animate opacity, and it's going to add the opacity animator on it as well. So then what we can do is click opacity at 1 second, because we know we want it to finish on 100%, and then go back. It's a lot easier to animate. It's a lot easier to animate if you put the keyframe where in the end result, and then go back, and then you can change it wherever. It's going to end up in the right place, rather than starting here, go into 1 second, and then trying to get this in the right place. It's easier to do it backwards. So again, I'm going to go F9, and I like that. I like that sort of look. And then check this out. You can just drop down these two animators. I'm just pressing Control and C, and click on social media, and press Control and V. Boom, I'm pasting the animations. Check this out. Do it on animated social media post project. Do it on all three. Let's go up. Let's actually do them in reverse order, because what happens is, because we're going along, we actually want the top one at the bottom, then the middle, then the other one. So what we can do is we could go, I'm pressing page down to go forward a few frames. Go forward a few frames. And now, wow, look at that. That's really starting to look like it does in the movies, you know. So what else could we do here? So something that I don't want to happen is, I don't want to be able to see post project coming up by here. So there's a few things that I could do here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get all my shape layers together, and I'm just going to pre-compose these and call this text box, like this. And then I'm going to duplicate it and put it above the text. Then I'm going to pre-compose all my text and call this text. And then this is the plan, right? At the moment you can see that's still going up, but if we make this the alpha mat of text box that we duplicated, it's only going to stay in the text box. And then what we could also do is we can animate the opacity of the text box so that the text box isn't just always there. Okay, sorry, let's do it for the bottom one. So if we go to T, we go to opacity, go to the start, bring the text down to 0, we get this sort of thing, which looks kind of nice. So that's one way we could do things. Or we could do a similar animation with the shape, where we're dragging the shapes up. And I feel like going up is the right trajectory for this. So now what I'll do is I'll go down to the, I'm going to leave that. I think it looks nice. I don't see any point in ruining it. So now if we go down to now available in the master class, this is going to come next, right? So I know I said we won't start offsetting things to the end, but you know, this is just the way it's transpired. So now we'll go down to our second bit of text, and what I want to do is show you as many little nuggets as I can about how I do things. So what we could do now is, like, let's go to animate position, and let's drop the position down. It's really hard to explain how this works, but essentially if we drop the position down, in fact, let's do this first. Press Control, Shift and N and draw a mask. Now, if you want to make that mask a little bit bigger from the bottom, what you do is press V to get the selection tool, and we'll double click on the mask and just bring it down a little bit, so that when they come up, we've got a little bit of leeway. And then we'll also click on now available in the mask class down here, and we can go to mask and just bring the feather up just the tiniest bit. But actually, let's expand the box just a little bit. So when you press Control Shift and N, you get a perfect mask, but we just want to make it a little bit bigger. Or you could just draw a mask. You could draw a mask simply by clicking this, clicking the rectangle tool, and it's going to draw a mask. But ultimately we want a mask with a tiny bit of feather. I'm going to put, like, let's just put 5 for now. 5 feather. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to animate position, and we're going to bring this down out of the box, and see the feather just gives you a little bit of a sort of gradient when it comes in. Now if we animate it down, right, so we've gone animate, position, down, and then we hit range selector start, go forward to 1 second, and we can drag the range selector up, and what that's doing is it's going back to the original position. And again, we could hit F9, drag this back, and you can do this in a few different ways. So we could, and we'll offset this after as well. We'll get it all in time after. This is just a little text subclass, if you like. Now, I might not like all the text coming in at the in a line with characters. So what we might do is go to animator 2 by words instead of characters, and what that'll do is bring it up by words, which looks really nice. And then with the button, what I'm going to do with the button is I'm going to combine the button. If we get instant access today, let's animate beta price ends soon first. So what I might do is draw another mask around beta price ends soon, and then I'll do the same. Go to 1 second, go to animate, and animate the position down. And what we'll do is go to range selector, we'll go to the start, 0, and then go to 1 second and just put 100, but then we'll drop down the advanced and we'll go by words again. But you know what, I don't think I even want to do it by words, so what I might do is I could just go, forget about the range selector and just go animator 1, position down, and then go to 1 second and bring it back to 0. Same thing, same principles apply. Drag the handle back, and we just get that. And then if you want to add a little feather on the mask as well, you can do that as well. Just put 5 feather on there, and then you can see there's a little bit of feather. And soon, and that's all hunky-dory. And then finally, just to set up this button with get instant access now, what we can do is we can press shift on both of these, right click, hit pre-compose here, and then we can just call this button, and then hit OK, and now our button is pre-composed, and we can animate the button separately. And you can see now, because we've hit pre-compose on the button, so instant access and the button are pre-composed together, but the composition is this big huge composition around here, right? So what we need to do is come down to here and press this little icon, and it's actually going to bring the it's going to collapse the transformations so that the bounding box, this is called a bounding box, is around the button, because if we actually click into this composition, this is what it looks like. So there's a few different things we could do here. So if we click this composition, now the first thing we need to do is see the anchor point is still in the middle. We need to bring this anchor point to the middle of this composition. So I'm just holding, I clicked Y to get the anchor point. Now I drag it down, I hold Control, and it gets that in the middle of the composition, which is great. And now what will happen is later on when we animate the button, which will be a separate lesson on its own, because this thing is turning into a meaty project, we can animate the button on its own. So the principles that we'll use when we animate that button apply to like everything. So it's a really good exercise. So I think for now, if we go back and we go to fit, and we've animated everything individually apart from the button, we've actually got quite a cool animation. So what we might want to do here is we could offset this a little bit so we can bring this back, and then we could also offset the beta price end soon so we get more like that. See what I mean about, look how much easier it is to go, oh no, that's coming in too soon. I think that looks really nice. And then also we could animate our shape as well. You know, we've got the shape at the top. So let's just go to 1 second again, press S, and then we could go to 0 on the first keyframe. Same thing again. I'm just using the same ease in. You could do this any way you want. It depends on the style of your animation. So we go to there, and see how everything just comes to 1 second, but we can start offsetting it, and you can just play around with that until it looks right. So now what I might do with the button as well is I'm going to add I'm going to hit position, and I'm going to hit T for opacity, and if I hold shift and press P as well, it's going to open up position opacity. I'm going to go back to 0. I'm going to turn the opacity down, and I'm going to drag it down. So I get that, but then obviously I'm going to do, you know, what I'm famous for, and press F9, grab both of these and bring these handles back, and now we've got a lot going on. I think I would like the button to actually start just be the end of the animation. See how subtle that is? And I'm not a fan of this coming in word by word. I think it looks alright. But by now you should have things popping off. So I really hope you're enjoying this. So we could take this a little step further just to finish off. If we wanted to animate our shape layer, we could do this in a few ways as well. We could go to 1 second, press S on the scale, go to 0 and F9. The thing is, I'm being consistent with these animations. I'll offset them. You know, you could get that. I'm not sure we need that though. I think what you could do is go to trim paths. So I'm going to add a trim paths here. Well, we've already got a trim paths. So I'm going to go down, start, might click, hit start there, it's at 0, go back, it's at 100 to 0, you know. I don't know how that works, go figure. So we can drag this back now. We could get I think I like it. I don't really want that animation already in there. I think there's enough going on, to be honest. So this is pretty much, there's a lot of animation things that we're learning, a lot of animation principles in here. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to add some finishing touches. I'm going to animate the Venetian blinds, and we'll animate the button, and I'll get into using the speed graph in a little bit more detail. So by now, all your elements should be animating in one way or another, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. I'll see you in the next video. Okay guys, so this is where things could get a little bit tricky, but it's going to be fun, so don't worry about it. So we've got our button fading in here. So if I think about this in like timing wise, I think it comes in 2, 3, 4, and then maybe like a little wiggle here. I'm thinking a little rotation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit R, and then I'm going to go forward like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keyframes. Essentially what I'm doing, I'm making this up on the spot how I'm thinking about this. But what I want to do is I want to bring it up to a certain angle, then I want it to go do like so I want to bring it up to give it some anticipation, like it's loading up, ready to like go crazy, right? So logic would say it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it goes quite fast. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see that the rotation's at -6. So I'm going to go forward to +5, then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, then I'm going to come back to -4, then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, then I'm going to go +3, 1, 2, -2, 1, 0. Alright, so all I've done is I've gone, and I kind of feel like I want it to do another I think I want it to go 5, 3, let's go to -3, and then let's go 2 frames to -2 to 2, and then let's go to -2, and then let's go to 0. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a wiggle here, but obviously there's no anticipation. It's just looks a bit awkward. So I've done there's a lot of keyframes here. So what we'll do, and we might not need them all. What we'll do anyway, so when we've got this basic gist, we just want a bit longer, and then we want it to slow down with a wiggle, right? So what I'm going to do, bear with me, I'm just going a bit crazy, right? So let's press F9 and ease these keyframes. So here's the speed graph as it is at the moment, and it actually doesn't look too bad. That looks alright because of how well we've keyframed them to slow down. But if you want a bit more anticipation here, then what I would do is I would drag, so essentially what this is when it's going down, it's slowing down. When it's going up, it's speeding up. So it's really speeding up by this point. So what we could do is click this handle and drag this forward, so we actually get more anticipation. And if we bring this left one, you can see we've made this longer. So this is really going to take some figuring out, but essentially this curve, at this point in time, it's going the fastest, and we know that's after it starts rolling. So but here's the thing, when we get to this one, it's going faster at this point, which just wouldn't be the case, right? So if we drag the keyframes out and space them out, it's going to make this slower. So if you look, it'll slow down like more sensibly now. But I still feel like the second one still goes too fast. So what I might do is I could grab all these keyframes, press Alt and drag them out a little bit. And maybe I want to drag this one out a little bit. And I feel like this is too long here. It's kind of, I want more of a ripple effect. So what I do is I just bring these keyframes closer together like this. I do think the keyframes need to be close, and the closer together the faster they go. But as long as they aren't getting taller than each other, we know that they are slowing down. And this might look crazy. It does just take practice. There we go. I feel like that anticipation looks perfect. And then if I hit the maybe we need to go inside. Can I get a motion blur on this, please? So I'm going to go inside. I'm going to turn motion blur on in the composition, and it's not giving me, oh yeah, so we've got a little bit of a motion blur now, but I don't like the way it is hitting the now available in Video Ad Masterclass, so I might bring this up a little bit. And there we go. So these keyframes, because we're slowing down, what I'd like to do is there's the anticipation. That's the main thing. You've got this, so you set a keyframe there and set a keyframe at the highest point, and then gradually decrease the keyframes distance between each other, and then also the distance between the rotation, going left and right. So it goes, look, it's going -6, -5, -3, -3, -2, -2, 0. And that gives us this pretty awesome, the only thing I'm not liking at the moment is it's a bit static. So what I might do here is I want to keep things moving a little bit. So I'm going to go into my profile picture, and is this the right one? So I'm going to go into this one, and I'm going to hit scale, and I'm going to go 43, but I'm going to scale it up a little bit. I don't really want to cut my head off, but I just want it to, I want it to keep moving. See how that's still moving? And then what I might do is with these Venetian blinds, I'm going to click up here. I could click enter and put blinds here. Remember, you could have there's tons of effects. I'm just not going to go through all the effects in After Effects. There's so much in here. Have a look around and play with what you like, but make sure you get something in there. If you're stuck, just use Venetian blinds. So what I might do is go to, if I click on the blinds, this shape layer here, this is what we want. Oh, looks like I named the wrong one. Right, what's this one then? Okay, this is the border. So if I go to my shape layer for the blinds and make sure that's behind the border, but I'll still put it at the top, call these blinds. I'll go to 1 and I'll put transition completion. I'll hit my keyframe, I'll go back and put 0. And I might actually drag this out to like 2. So I'm going to drag the transition completion out so it keeps it moving a little bit when everything else is stopped. And then what I might also do is hit a position keyframe and then go to the end and just drag that across 10 pixels. So I'm just trying to find ways to keep things moving a little bit. Right? And to be honest, I think that's pretty much it. My other idea is to put an animated texture behind, but I'm not sure if it'll be too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it, and if I think it's good, I'll show you the video, and if I think it's rubbish, then I'll see you in class. Please, if you have made a project so far and if you're enjoying this, post in the class your work. Let me know what you've learned. If you want to learn anything else, what you want to learn next, whatever you need, I'm here. Just shout out, post your projects in a group, and I love you guys. Thanks. You keep this thing going and growing. Thanks for being here. So, like I said, if there's a texture one, then just watch the next video. If not, then just everything I just said. Alright, cheers. I'll see you in the group. Okay, yeah, we're back with a bonus video. I knew it wouldn't end there. So the only thing that this thing is lacking is texture. So I've done 2 absolutely bonkers things, and they've actually turned out alright. So I literally took a photo of my wall. This is just my garden wall. So I want to play with this, maybe like this, and then I want to put it over the background. So right now, yeah, that doesn't look great. It actually looks pretty cool though. I do love the wall texture, but I found by turning it down, maybe we can play around. You know, now I've done this, I'm starting to feel like I just want the wall. We could totally go with the wall, but that would mean adjusting the text and things like that. But look, all I'm doing is I'm pressing shift and I'm scrolling through the blending modes to find different ones. I'm sorry, but this just looks too cool now. Maybe we'll have to change it. So I'm just scrolling through the blending modes, looking at the picture of my wall. Look at that, that looks insane. So now we could press T and I could bring this down. So we've got like a little bit of texture like this, which looks great. I might put black and white on it, make it black and white. And then we could also go to levels. And I'm just going to hit levels, and I'm just going to play around with these until I get the texture I'm looking for. And I think that looks pretty sweet. Honestly, you've just got to play with this sort of stuff. Just got a delivery, not sure if you heard that knock at the door. But yeah, so we've gone from, let's go up here, let's drag this texture to the top, let's turn off black and white, let's turn off levels. And let's just put it to normal and put the opacity up. So we've got this, we've dropped it to 15%, put the mode on divide. There's no reason I put it on divide, I just went through them until it looked good. So where's divide? Divide's here, put it on divide, and then we made it black and white. Add some levels into the mix, and now we've got like a really nice texture. So we'll put this one to the bottom. Part of me did want to keep that the white version. I thought that looked great. Let me know in the group, did you prefer the white version or do you like this version? I feel like with the white version I would have had to start playing with text, and I just don't want to do that with you guys on the phone. On the phone watching the video, not on the phone. So one thing I'm going to do here, right, I'm going to pre-compose this. Here's the thing, the anchor point at the moment is here, and if I want to scale this up, I don't want it to scale from the anchor point, so I might want to get a slow scale on this. Oh, I can hold control and get the anchor point to the middle, so that's fine. So I'm going to hit scale, I'm going to go across, and I'm going to start bringing this up. I might go to 24. So now we've got this nice moving social media poster, which is just looking amazing. Okay, so the final thing we're going to do to keep it moving, because this is scaling quite nicely. Had a few nice surprises making this, because I didn't think this texture was going to look so good. I might just keep it a little bit more subtle like that. So we've just got this, so you don't really know what it is. And now I took a photo of the floor as well. I thought while I'm at it, I'll take a photo of the floor. So this is my other idea, and again, this is bonus. This is, I am winging it, and we can just see what happens, right? So let's go black and white again. Black and white, and what I want is I want the white to show through more than the black. So if I go to here and then hit levels as well. So I'm going to put some levels on. Levels just adjust the black and white input. And now there should be a way. I want to make the levels so that the white comes through. I might not be on the right blending mode for that. So let's flick through. Let's see what gives the best results. You know what I might do just for now? Let me just get a new composition here, because there's so much going on. I'm just going to drag my photo in of my wall, and I'm just going to put a hypothetical black background in. Let's just put that in. And if I scroll through the blending modes, I want the one that gives me the white. So I suppose if I, and this is how you learn, just literally just wing it. So let's go back to normal for now. Okay, I'll just click normal. Let's go back to normal. Let's go to levels, and let's pump these levels. And if I just flick through, there we go. Now I know I'm kind of getting where I need to be. So I just want specks of this wood showing, essentially, like this. And I'm going to keep going through the blender modes. And I know one of them is going to give me something like what I want. Maybe I need to pump this up. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere, and I'm just trying to get specks. That's what I'm trying to do, get specks of the wood. I want to turn this black and white. This is going to make sense eventually. And now I'm going to change the blending mode. Here we go. Let's start adjusting these. See how we're just working it out so that I've just got the scrapes. That's all I want, these little scrapes. But I actually want it on the black. There we go. So I'm on darken, and I'm just trying to get the scrapes like this. Let's go through, make sure we've got the best one. It's just a really light texture I'm trying to get. Okay, so on darken, I've just got a couple of scrapes. and you can barely see them, which is perfect because that's what we want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this, go back into my main and put this over the top, and then change this to add. And now I think you should be able to see, you can see I've got this kind of overlay here, this white overlay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit P for position and S for scale. Actually, let's get them both open. And I'm going to toggle these to hold keyframes. And then I'm going to go 2 frames out. And I'm going to hit the position. Let's actually get rotation in there as well. Let's press Shift and R and get rotation keyframes. Let's go 2 frames out. Let's rotate this texture, scale it up. Just make sure we've got hold keyframes. So just getting hold keyframes, and hold keyframes just means that there's no animation in between. And then if we move it back, spin it around a bit more, we go forward again, bring the position over, rotate, and go again, bring it down. You can see we've got this really gentle texture going over the top. And then what we could do is, let's just go across, rotate again, and move the position. And now we've got this kind of texture over the top. And now what we can do is press Control C, and we can go forward 2 keyframes, paste them again. Control C, forward 2 keyframes, paste them again. And you can see the texture starting to go over the top. There is an expression for loop out, and I'm just not sure if we would need to do that for each one, so I'm just doing it this way. Oops. So if we go across here, and then we select everything, we go forward 2 keyframes, and we paste again, and now you can see we've got that texture flickering over the top, and that was made with a photo of my wall. And it might have been a little bit painful to watch because honestly I'm doing a bit of learning as we go here as well, but this is starting to look like a pretty cool poster, and we've probably covered just about everything I love about After Effects. So hopefully you enjoy this. I hope I've helped, and I look forward to seeing your projects in the group. This is the actual end of this project now, so thanks for watching, hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you when I see you. Welcome guys, thanks for joining. This is going to be an awesome lesson, and it's really going to be applicable, relevant information that you can use right away. We're going to be making our own little promotional poster. We're not actually going to make a square story. I was going to use story, but then I decided I want to actually make something that I'm going to be using for this course. So you're going to be watching along and following along, making your own product, self-promo. We'll work on a script, something that you can actually post and use, so by the end of it you've actually got something out of it whilst learning some intricacies about animation, some effects, and how you design this thing and get it all coming together. It looks really complicated, but it's actually not when we design it the way we're going to design it. So first we're going to write a script, we're going to plan how things are going to look and what it's going to say, and I really would love you to follow along, devote just a few hours to getting this done and posting your results in the group, because I really can't wait to see how everyone does their own thing. So there's going to be a few rules you're going to require to create a background. We're going to need shapes with an effect on them, animated. Going to be using trim paths. We're going to be using the text animator, and we're going to be learning about easing and animation. So if you have a look at this button now, there's a little bit of anticipation. It goes up and then it wiggles. So we're going to learn all of these things whilst creating something awesome. Your poster should have a call to action. So mine says get instant access today. So we're even going to touch on a little bit of copywriting for these social media posts. This is going to be an all-inclusive project, and I'm really excited about it because I can't wait to see what you guys do in the group. So in the next video, we'll get to part 1, where we're going to just be planning what we're going to do, how it's going to look. So that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Alright guys, so I hope you're ready. Here we go. In the first episode, let's just make a new project. So we've got Advanced Story Project here. I'm going to make a new project and make sure you save your project straight away. So we could call this Square Social Media Ad. I already had something similar. Square Social Media Ad will be fine. You could do a story if you want. By the way, you can make a story, whatever you like. The difference is the width and the height. So square is 1 to 1, so it's an even number, width and height. Story for Instagram is 916, so it would be like 900, 1600. But I'm going to go with square. I'm going to go with 1000 by 1000 because it even makes the maths really simple. And I'm going to call the main composition main, and we're just going to make it like, I'm going to make mine 9 seconds. I think that's fine. And what we're going to do throughout, so if you can see, my background is actually a bit of a different color. It's just because I've got it selected there. So I'm going to make it black just so you guys have the same. So we're in After Effects. This, hopefully you're familiar with After Effects by now. This should be a bit later on in the course. So it's not going to be so much, it's going to be more advanced. So if you get stuck at any point, maybe go back to one of the previous training videos and we'll have a look at it there. So the first thing we're going to need to do is, this is how I like to approach it. First, I like to just get all the assets into the screen. We're going to make it like a graphic design. That's goal number 1. So right now we're going to make this rough. So let me give you an idea. I'm going to get a document up. Let me get a notepad up. So here's like a little formula that I think you should follow. So for the script, in fact, let me get a Google document up. It'll be much easier to see. So we're going to write a script for our video. So it's going to be simple. These are the requirements. These are going to be the requirements for your Square video ad. So first of all, for the script, we're going to have a bold headline, and then we'll have more information, and then we'll have CTA, which is call to action. All right, and now bear in mind, Facebook, on a Facebook post, you can only have 20% text. However, when it's animated, the thumbnail needs to be less than 20%. So I think if you animate it, basically you can get away with more than 20% text. This is when you're paying for an advert, right? So if you were running an advert, paid, yeah. An organic post, you could have text all over it, but on Facebook, you can only have 20% when you're paying. So anyway, let's focus on these for now. So let's go for script. We can keep, we'll actually put paid post. You can only have 20% text. So this might be a good way around it, but don't quote me on it. So bold headline. So you could have your name, you could have sale, you could have new version, or you could have the name of a product. It could be anything. You could be working with a pair of shoes, anything like that. So you could have name, sale, offer, anything like this. So whatever you want to do. The more information you could say, or you could new in, something like that. More information, you could have smaller text. So you could say, for instance, my name, your name is in bold, and then you could say editor, animator, entrepreneur. That's kind of what I say when people say, you know, what are you? Editor, animator, entrepreneur. And then call to action is going to be like our button, and we're going to say contact me today. So what I want you to do right now is go and maybe open up a video. Don't open up a video. Open up a document, write in your script. So your bold headline, this is going to be like, because there's a hierarchy, right, to design. You might know design, you might not, but there's going to be something more bold, scroll stop in, something a bit shorter, some shorter text to add to what that title's saying, and then a call to action to tell you what to do next. So the first thing we want to do is go and do this. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say animated social media post project, and then I'm going to say more information now available in the video ad master class. And then the call to action is going to be join today for just $37, and then smaller text, offer ends soon, right? So we're going to actually be making the ad for this video. That's what I'm going to do, but I don't want you to do this. But what you could do, I'm going to leave an affiliate link. If you want an affiliate link for this course, let me know, because it's just an idea I had. You could promote this course. So essentially, if I give you the link and someone buys the course, you get half the profit. So if it's 37 and you share the link and someone buys it, they'll get it for, you'll get like 18 bucks. And this course is going to go up in price as well over time. So bold headline, more information, call to action, and then we've got smaller text. So this is how mine is going to look. And then what about the image? Alright, so what about the image? So we're going to need an image in here as well. So the image, I'm just going to put my face. So yours could be anything by now. You could have, I'll do an alternative example so you're not stuck. So it could be like this. It could be sale on now, and then it could be limited edition, get offer today, and then you could just put a picture of trainers or anything like that, right? If you just need something to do, or you can promote this course, you can do whatever you like. So the image, my face, it could be shoes, it could be smiling woman in coffee shop, it could be anything. So make sure you're writing down now, you're planning it out. You can have a bold headline, more information, call to action, maybe some extra text, and let me just put this to the top, maybe some extra text, and now we are set up for a result. So obviously I'm not going to use these, so it's going to be my face. You've already pretty much seen what I'm going to make. And then what about elements? So you could have squares, circles. So these are the requirements. You could have squares or circles. I'm going to have squares for Ryan. I might even have both. So I'll put squares and circles, and then effects, and I'm just going to have Venetian blinds. You could have anything you want. You could make those little pluses. So go ahead and plan out what your script's going to be, your call to action, the image, the elements, and the effects. And then when we get into the next video, we'll start actually bringing all this into After Effects. Okay, so now we are in After Effects, and I just want to show you something really quickly, just how I like to make a color palette. I've done it in my group, but maybe you haven't been in the group, so I'll just show you again. So what I like to do is, if we're in After Effects in our main composition, we double click the rectangle tool, it fills it the size of the screen. And we haven't got a fill at the moment, but what I'm going to do is, I've got a branding guidelines here, so you can either color pick or you can do it however you like, but essentially what we need to do, we need to go down to the color picker and make a square with our color. But what you can do is, if you click on the color picker here, you can actually just click anywhere, even if you're on a second screen, and you can collect that color. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press S and just scale this down to 50, and I'm going to align it to the top left. Then I get my color palette again, my hot pink, and I can just duplicate this layer and align it to the right. Fill, Control and V the hot pink. I might use the blue as well. Let's get the blue. No, let's get the purple. I like the purple. Go back in, duplicate, click the fill, and then go to the bottom. And then we'll go back in, and maybe we could use a bit of the orange, or maybe we'll just go for the light grey. Whatever you do, you can always add colours later on. This is just a cool little trick that I've learnt in a course somewhere. Again, some of these courses, they don't tell you, they just do things, and then I think if you put a little bit more effort in that, that's really valuable. So palette there, this actually just saves me a lot of time. So I can delete palette from the timeline, but now if I click palette, I can just color pick off this. So the first thing we're going to do is set everything up, set our scene up. So let's go layer new solid and pick your background. So make sure you got your colors in here. We can color pick our background. This is our background, and I'm going to hit lock on this at the bottom. And there we go. I might actually unlock this and just rename it to BG, and then hit lock. And there we go. The background is locked in. The next thing I need to do is get my text in, and I'm not going to be too fussy about it. I'm going to go to hit the text layer, and then I'm going to go to Gotham Black. Gotham Black, regular but black. And then I'm going to start typing in our text. So I've got my document here, so it's going to say animated social media post project, animated, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to do each line separately. Alright, so duplicate the layer. Don't worry about being too fussy here. Something I do like to do is have it aligned the way you're going to write it, so that they're already lined up when you duplicate, and then I just press shift and drop down a few layers. Animated social media, and then I can go post project, something like this. So yours could be anything, and it could be any size, but for now what we're doing is we're just creating our graphic design, right? We're not stressing over where it is or anything like that. Just make sure the text is in there, and then let's go to our next bit of text. So I'm just gonna, what I'm doing is I'm just holding shift to make sure these are selected, moving them up, and then we're gonna write again. I'm gonna get another set of text, but this time we're going for like Gotham book maybe, and I can put project now available in the video ad masterclass. I'm just going to write this in quite rough, bring it down, maybe I'll align this to center, kind of like I had in the story. Project now available in the video ad masterclass. I'm going to select it all, oops, and just delete it all and ruin everything. No, so select it all, and I'm going to use these buttons at the top to kind of just even out the spacing. I think that looks good. Remember, you can have yours wherever you want, so don't just copy me. You could make, if you had sale, for example, I'm just going to make another mock-up just so you don't just think about me. You could have it like this. You could have sale now on, and you could be having your picture on the other side of the screen, and then you could have more text down here, get your offer today, something like that, or no, limited edition in stock, and then scale this down. You know, however you're going to do it, just design it like a graphic design and get your text and images in. Just don't want you, I see it a lot, and I probably do it a lot, you're following along with someone and you want to make their thing. But really what I want you to do is make your own thing, but we'll use the same principles. So then the CTA, I'm just going to go up to the top here. I'm going to hold the rectangle tool, get the rounded rectangle tool. I'm not sure actually. I'll get the normal rectangle tool. And I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Maybe I'll go to fill and color pick. So what I need to do is click my palette at the top, go to fill and color pick the pink, because that is I watched a video recently and it was on the color hierarchy, and it should be like the most eye-popping color is like the CTA, the call to action. That's what you really want people to pay attention to. And then we'll bring this up a little bit, and I'm kind of, I am, I suppose, I won't lie, I am jigging about with it right now. So, but I'm not obsessing over it. I'll definitely fix it up after the spacing issues and things like that. So, project now available in the video ad masterclass. So we're going to get some text. So I'm going to hit text, get more text in here, and just check my Google document for what I was going to say. Join today for just $37. Bargain. Join today for just $37. And I can play with the font and everything as well. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the font layer, the text and the shape layer, and animate to selection so that they're all together nicely. And then if I hold shift on both, I can move this around, or because we're only aligning horizontally, I can just align I can align horizontally to get them central. Now here's a little thing that I like to do. So I don't use the rounded edges of the rectangle tool. I go into the shape layer and I drop down the rectangle path, and I just bring up the roundness to, I think it caps out a kind of 50-ish, but then that gives me the round button, whereas I don't find you get the same effect in the other one. So I can play around with my fonts after. Again, like this font's a little bit too big. I think I'd want that a bit smaller. I'm not sure if I want that bold. We'll have a look at that after. Maybe I want this. Maybe I'll want these in caps, or maybe I'll put get instant access for $37. That sounds more appealing than join today. Get instant access. And then we can do the same thing again. Just align them. Oops, we can align them together. I did it to the composition, but we can just drag them down. So the main thing is we're getting all the elements in here. And I think it looks better on the button with caps. And I'm starting to think that maybe we want to just bring this down to one line. I kind of want it to be substantially smaller than this text. So I like small text. A lot of people want big, horrible text. I think small is good. Leave it like that for now, just to get to the point, but you can see what I'm doing. Then we need to get our image in. So you should have your bold headline, sub headline, button, and then we get the image in the video. So I'm just using the picture of me, but you could put a picture of shoes. You could put whatever you like in here. So let's have a look. I've got a download somewhere where it's like a kind of low res picture of me. And obviously this is just too big. It's all over the screen. So what I like to do is, the first thing I'll do is pre-compose my image, because then later on, if you ever want to change the image, you can. So move all attributes inside, and I'm going to call this profile picture. And I do an underscore because if you ever just render this out, you might, if it's got a space, you might screw up the file. So, and then I'll bring that just above the background. So it could be like that. I mean, that doesn't even look too bad. I'm not sure where get instant access has gone. There we go. I also like to arrange things kind of how they look on the screen. So I might have post animated, social media, post project. There we go. They're in order of like how they are on the screen. So I could do this. Here's a cool trick. If you want to get yourself in a circle, just go down to the ellipse tool when you're pre-composed in a square and double click the ellipse tool. So now what you can do is scale up and down, and if anything is actually changing in this circle, so if we scale up our picture inside and I go like this, it's gonna scale up inside the circle, so it keeps moving a little bit and it keeps things moving. Maybe I can scale it up a little bit more just so we can see. So if I go like this, it'll be moving like that. And a good thing to do is just keep things moving a little bit, especially when it's like a still scene. But you can see we're kind of getting somewhere. There's a bit of a design in here. So, but part of me really liked that. I think that looks quite good. And I'm wondering now whether, see how things just change. You just need to get it in there. So for now, let's get all our assets in. And I did say a shape. I'm starting to feel like I just really like how this already looks. But you can see the animated social media, it's kind of, maybe it's getting a bit lost in that white background. So what we could do is maybe we could use our shapes here to get a rectangle. If we click on the color palette and fill that with the purple, I might bring this behind the text. Maybe I could do something like this, you know. And this is all just, again, it's all just design. Let's just have a look at how this looks. So right now, just be working on fiddling around, getting your design looking how you want it to. But make sure you bring everything in here. If you are going to use a shape, so I might do this. Let me get my, yeah, now I've lost the purple. I think it definitely looked better before. So let me do this another way. If I get my ellipse tool and I do put me there, scale myself down like this and bring it to the top right corner. That looks pretty cool. Then what I might have is, I might just have, just to fill out some space, I could have like a circle up here. However you want to design things, but try to get two elements in there. So you've got the button and we've got another shape. So we've got more stuff to move, but again, if it's not required, then don't put it in there. So what I don't want to do right now is I don't want to show you me faffing around with it until I'm happy with it. So what I want you guys to do is to go and get everything in order and pre-compose your picture. That'll come in handy later. I'll show you a few tricks you can do with that. But the main thing is get everything in, get your design in. You could, just to give you some inspiration, you could, if you want, little pluses. Sorry, a lot of people do this. If I get the text layer, I see this a lot. These kind of, we could go Gotham black. You can just make these little pluses, you know. I see these little designs quite a lot. But again, it's like, are you adding or are you taking away from the experience? So we could animate them later on. We can make them flash. Whatever it is you're going to do, I don't actually like them. You might like them though. No judging. No judgments made. So whatever you might do, you might have a picture in the background, text with the boldness behind. Basically, go and arrange your graphic design. And in the next video, we'll come back. I'll have faffed around with mine. We'll come back and then we'll just start animating. So I'll see you in the next video. Alright guys, so one thing that I missed out in the last video is there's the trim paths. So I just want to show you quickly essentially what I'm talking about. So this little circle around the edge, you can see it's cutting through, and all I've done here is I've created a new ellipse like this without a fill, and then I've aligned it to the profile picture, and I aligned them together, and then I scaled it up. So right now I've got this around the picture, but if I want this to cut off, so I want it to cut off so it doesn't go through animated social media post project, what I'm going to do is let me just rename this circle outer, something like that. So you can do this with a circle or a square. I'll show you square as well. You could have a square like this. That looks pretty nice. Maybe I'll keep it. So here's the thing. If you click on we'll click on the circle. I'll delete the square for now. But you click on the circle and then we drop down. You can see down here we've got add, and we're going to add trim paths. So if you've got a circle or a square picture, sometimes this can look nice around it. So we'll go to trim paths down the bottom, and if you look, if we move start and end, it's going to change the start and end of the circle. So if I bring the end down, you can see that it cuts off. So what we want to do is, let's say I'm going to bring the start up, but then we want to just move the offset, the second number, and just play with these just until you get where you need to get. So I've got this. I'm still not 100% sold on whether I actually want it. It looked good on the other one, but I'm just not sure here. What do you guys reckon? Do you reckon keep it, or do we ditch it? I'm not 100% sold. Maybe if we get rid of this one, then what we could do is I could actually just select a stroke, double click, and it's going to put a square. If I double click the rectangle, it puts a square around the box, and then just scale that to like 98 maybe. Let's actually go down a bit more. There we go. That's looking pretty cool. So what we could do is, no, actually, I think that's good. So I just wanted to show you the trim paths. So let's just show you again here. So add, drop down shape layer, add trim paths, and it adds it under this rectangle here, right? Because here's another thing, if we're selected on this shape layer and we select a square, we draw another square, it actually draws it in the same shape layer, which is useful, but we don't want to go down that route right now. So you can see we could just trim this. We could trim this off. We could maybe trim this off where that circle is. So if we bring the offset back and play around with this just a little bit, you know, we could potentially look like that. But I actually think it looked alright. I actually liked it over the circle. But anyway guys, just thought that would be a useful tip. And finally, we're not going to animate this now, but I may as well get the Venetian blinds in. So if I click on the shape layer, this is just one effect. There's loads of effects. You can go through all the effects and find which one you like. But if I put a Venetian blinds on the shape layer and turn it up or down, you can see we get these Venetian blinds, and we can change the width, we can change the height, we can make them look how we like, whether you want them skinnier. Again, it's just a matter of design, this one. But here's how it's looking so far. I think it's looking good, and I will see you in the next video.